for At the Movies with Tim Sika. Yay!
Here we are. Boy, yeah, movies. Movies seem so trivial these days considering what the hell is going on in this country and in this world. But anyway, that's a different conversation, right?
No, it's true. But
Yeah.
sometimes you need the
Distraction. Yeah.
distraction. You need to be able to take your head out of all the seriousness and kind of escape for a hot minute. Otherwise, it can start
Yeah.
to drag you down,
Oh, God. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, the first movie that we're going to talk about that would, I think, will provide what you just described for the
Okay.
moviegoer who is going to go see this movie. It's called The Secret Art of Human Flight. And this is a very, very special movie. It's a magical, realist comedy fantasy drama about this widower and author of children's books who's struggling to come to terms with this inconsolable grief that he has due to the death of his wife by going on what can only be described as a weird journey with an eccentric and somewhat sketchy guru acquired through the dark web. So right there, right, red flag. And this guru, right, yeah, right. This is how inconsolable this guy is. And this guru claims to have unlocked the power to fly. Okay, interesting premise, right? Okay, the widower is played by Grant Rosenmeyer, and the guru is played by Paul Raci, who 4 or 5 years ago received the Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for his performance in Sound of Metal. I don't know if you saw that. Excellent drama about this heavy metal drummer who's losing his hearing. Anyway, Secret Art of Human Flight. If you had to pick one movie to see this week, I think of all the ones I'm going to talk about, I would recommend that this be the one because there's something about it, which I'm hoping I can presence here, that makes it very special, as I said, and also a movie difficult to compare with any other movie I can think of. Maybe there was this, when I was watching it, there was a smidgen of Close Encounters of the Third Kind that certain scenes reminded me of, where the protagonist, Ben Grady, played by Grant Rosenmeyer, starts indulging in what looks like these weird behaviors to outsiders, but that make total sense to him. Like, when Richard Dreyfuss started making mountains out of mashed potatoes at the dinner table, or began, making a model of Devil's Tower in his living room out of junk he was throwing into his house via the kitchen window. Remember Close Encounters? Well, our protagonist in Human Flight engages in some similarly weird behavioral stuff. So those parts kind of reminded me of Close Encounters, but unlike that film, the Secret Art of Human Flight has something special about it that's hard to let go of. And now, before I talk about those things, I do have a few reservations here, probably because I keep comparing this film to the director's other films, which he wrote himself. But this feature film debut script by Jesse Orenshine for The Secret Art of Human Flight is somewhat problematic. I found it a little problematic. The metaphysics of the piece are a little fuzzy and underdeveloped. Plot points are raised, then inexplicably dropped. One possible way to interpret the film, which certainly has its share of humor. There's a lot that's fun. There's a lot of things in it that are funny. But it also deals with some heavy themes like grief and severe personal loss, is that there's an implication, and this may just be me, but there's an implication that perhaps suicide may be the answer to dealing with the pain of indescribable loss. And that made me feel kind of weird. But anyway, these personal caveats aside, the film emotionally does admittedly deliver. And it delivers because, in my opinion, it is brilliantly directed by multi-talented Bay Area filmmaker H.P. Mendoza, who somehow manages to, I don't know if he masks the deficiencies of some of the writing. He does something to the point where cumulatively the film has power. He also edited the film, he sound designed the film, and composed the deeply moving musical score, which culminates in this end credit song, which is heard over the end credits, is called Fly, in keeping with the film's theme of flight, personal flight, which I hope the distributors of this film will aggressively promote to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the Best Song category at next year's Oscars, because it's not only a great song and a great piece of music, it's the best song to be featured in any movie released in the last 30, 35 years. And when that song appears at the end and we, the audience, take it in and realize that this song is summarizing in music what I think was the screenwriter's intent, despite any misgivings I may have about the script, the movie completely owns us. The other thing about the film too, where the performances, Paul Raci is the guru. His name is Mealworm. How's that for a name? Mealworm. And Grant Rosenmeyer in the lead. And every single one of the supporting cast, they're all stellar. The acting's great in this movie, and the actors really sell the movie. So circling back to what I originally said at the outset of the review, if you have to pick one movie to see this week, I recommend that this be the one, The Secret Art of Human Flight. And I'm going to make a plug here. It opens today at the Roxy Theater. It's opening at a bunch of theaters in LA and New York, but it opens today exclusively at the Roxy Theater in San Francisco. And H.P. Mendoza, the director, is going to appear in person at the 6:15 p.m. screening tonight, Friday, July 5th, for a post-screening Q&A and discussion. So if there are any tickets left, that's the screening you want to attend. So just go to the Roxy Theater website and order yours before they're all gone. You will thank me for it, trust me.
So is this kind of a more of an artsy film where it's not going to be in wide release at most theaters? It'll be in a select kind of.
Well, it's
specialty?
playing. I would say right now it's opening, I think, at about a dozen theaters, and it's going to expand. So I don't know if I would call it artsy, if you mean by artsy sort of like pejorative. I mean, or just it's an independent film.
Okay.
But I think I know that there's elements in it that I think can appeal to a very, very wide audience, because it's about loss and grief. And who of us, I mean, every day there's something or other some kind of loss that we're dealing with, So The Secret Art of Human Flight. Yeah, this is the movie that if you have to pick one, you have to see this week.
Okay. All right. And
I probably should have left it for last, right? But I didn't.
No. That's good. We'll start out with the good stuff.
Okay.
This one is a French movie. Last summer.
Yes.
But I couldn't find the English poster.
Well, yes, last summer, and as Monty Python would say, and now for something completely different. We've got Catherine Breillat's French drama. It's called Last Summer. Catherine Breillat has been making movies for over 40 years now as a writer-director. She started in the business as an actress. She played a dressmaker in the infamous Last Tango in Paris, and who in her films, Kim, generally deals in taboo subjects and places where arguably some film fans might prefer to avoid. Mm-hmm. And she's made another one of those films. Another one of her emblematic and compelling dramas and explorations of sexuality and intimacy. And in Last Summer, which is in French and is subtitled in English, and a remake of a 2019 Danish film called Queen of Hearts, actress Leah Drucker, who's there next to the boy, plays a lawyer who lives in Paris with her husband and two young daughters. And one day, her husband's 17-year-old son, played by newcomer Samuel Kircher from a previous marriage, moves into the house and, cut to the chase, has an affair with his stepmother.
Oh, my.
I know. This is going to
Are you sure this isn't porn?
No, it's
okay.
not. See, this is what's weird about this movie. I don't know how I'm going to say this without implicating myself. No. Okay. I found this movie to be a very sensual, sexy, weirdly enough. I thought I was going to find it more uncomfortable than anything else.
Sure.
But then was surprised, well, not really surprised because Breillat is a hell of a filmmaker, to find this drama to not only be a strong film, but a really provocative and powerful essay on sensuality and eroticism and sexual power dynamics, adult responsibility, teenage lust, and, human behavior, because it doesn't judge the situation. And in the end, in fact, it's all about behavior, societal convention and complex human emotions. It's extremely well directed. I think if it had been directed by anybody else, I might have turned it off after the first 20 minutes because of the subject matter. Yeah. But there's this balance of tenderness and cruelty pervading this situation, which just kind of happen. It's dramatically compelling. The sex scenes are incredibly tasteful. They're shot in extreme close-up, and the actors are directed in such a way that their on-screen interactions in and of themselves become just kind of interesting to watch from a character standpoint. I found it to be immensely affecting and felt it worked not only as an exploration of this particular type of situation, maybe one that happens more than is reported, I don't know, but it was also a compelling domestic drama as well. So, you know,
Okay.
pick your poison if you like. But if you like dramas that tackle subjects not usually tackled in cinema,
Yeah.
Last Summer is a movie for you. Is the movie for you.
Interesting.
It's also just an interesting movie because you can't stop watching it. You're
Oh.
going, where is this going to go?
Mm.
I mean, where is it going to go? It's just, I was very impressed with it. I like all her movies, the director's movies, but this is one of her best. She's, I think, in her mid
Interesting.
70s now. Yeah. So
Huh.
there you go. That was Last Summer.
So this is you're talking about escaping reality. This is kind of one of those movies that you just stick your head in the clouds and
Yeah. Yeah. Beverly
yeah.
Hills Cop, Axel F.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop
Yeah, I mean
movies?
I saw the early ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies that you'll enjoy, really enjoy, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. is, it's yet another one of those 30 years after the previous movie in the franchise sequels to, the 1994. Yeah, it's 30 years. 1994 is Beverly Hills Cop. It's a sequel to that, the Beverly Hills Cop 3, which came out in 1994. The franchise started in 1984. So, 40 years after the first in the franchise was released. And yeah, this one stars Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley. He's this like street smart detective, or not detective. He's a Detroit cop
Right.
who, you know, travels to Beverly Hills, California to always investigate crimes, even though they're totally out of his jurisdiction. He's a loose cannon, right? But
Yeah.
he always gets his man. And this particular crime in this fourth Beverly Hills movie involves a drug cartel, somebody being framed for a murder that they didn't commit, and Axel Foley, the Beverly Hills cop of the title, reconnecting with his estranged daughter, who's this defense attorney in LA who happens to be under the tutelage of a close friend of Axel Foley's, who was once a police officer, but he's now a private investigator. Anyway, you had to be there. So this is an action comedy, and it's a good one. I want to say it surprised me because I didn't think they were going to pull this off so many years after the last one, but it does deliver, I think, in every department that's made this franchise so popular with
Oh.
movie audiences. Over the last 40 years, 4 decades, everything that fans of this franchise love these movies for, lively chase action sequences, lots of shoot 'em ups, a scooch of violence, and the comic, larger than life presence of Eddie Murphy, who's, he's getting a little long in the tooth,
Mm-hmm.
but he's lost none of his genius for these types of movies. In fact, there's nothing Eddie Murphy can't do. I mean, he's brilliant and he's hilarious. I would love to see this guy in a straight dramatic role. I wish somebody would write him a straight dramatic role. He'd probably win every award in the book. He's just brilliant. Anyway, it's the feature film directorial debut of this guy named Martin Malloy, who gets it. He understands. I like when they hire directors who get, or who appear to get, what, especially when they're tackling a franchise film, they get what makes the franchise so special. And he understands what makes the franchise work. The pacing of the film is crisp and fleet. He has a good script here by Will Beall and a couple of other writers. And it's funny and entertaining. It's a pure summer popcorn movie that, surprisingly enough, is not getting a theatrical release. It's gone straight to Netflix, where I suspect it's going to be a huge hit. It's streaming now. But yeah, for total diversion and fun summer entertainment, you really can't go wrong with this
So
movie. And
weird. Why
it
did they
is.
not put it out in the
I
theaters?
still don't know what this means for the future of movie theaters, but it's the kind of summer
Mm,
release moviegoers used to travel to movie theaters
yeah.
to see. I mean, it really is. It's one you want to see with the audience because you'd be
Yeah.
cheering along with the audience and laughing and applauding and gasping because it's such a
Yeah.
wild movie.
I
But
would have
it's a
thought that
good
would have
one.
done really well this weekend. So,
Wouldn't you have?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so who knows? Anyway, but I liked it. I recommend it.
Do we get the laugh that Eddie Murphy? Do we
Oh
get?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And it's almost like you have to wait for it.
Mhm.
Uh, he and when he does it, he knows he's doing it, and it's sort of like a wink, wink thing in it. But it's just the time, his comic timing, absolute genius. This guy.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Okay, nice.
yeah.
So here's a movie. There is no matter what you say about it, there's no way I'm getting out of it. Every time we drive past our
Oh,
movie theater in
yeah,
town,
yeah.
Jacob
He,
looks over and he sees the poster on the side of the building, and he's like, "When is that movie coming out? How many more days is that? How many more days is that?" This is in my future this weekend. It's Despicable Me 4.
well, I happened to see this movie at an early access screening where they invited a lot of kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they seemed to respond to it. But I'll get to that. Yeah, this is another franchise IP picture. Only this one's an animation feature from Illumination Studios. I think it's the sixth overall installment in the Despicable Me movie franchise. I think it's six. I know there's four movies with the title Despicable Me, and this is the fourth, but there's two I can't remember. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and really, the only reason this movie was made, in my opinion, okay, and I'm talking as a critic now, not as a kid, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
was to cash in on what more or less was a certain thing, or that
Mm-hmm.
Illumination thought was a sure thing. I don't think it's singing too sweet a song at the box office either. I think my
Mm-hmm.
Daily Variety reported that it was just number 4 in box office takings for the week. Usually, it's not the best sign for a new movie. And I remember when I saw it, it was particularly hot out the day I saw it. So, I don't think it was hard for parents to get their kids into the movie. Anyway, the problem with it is that there's no longer anything fresh or fun about the concept. The concept being that there's this super villain turned secret agent. His name is Gru, and he's got this, the gaggle of yellow colored minions who talk funny,
Yeah.
right? And I suppose it's not a disreputably bad movie. I mean, I've seen worse. Like I said, I saw it at an early access screening, and there were lots of wee ones there chuckling throughout the movie, and even a smattering of applause came at the end. But from my perspective, after having sat through all but one of these Despicable Me movies, there was not too much memorable about the storyline, and there was this inconsequential plot that was more than anything clearly trading in on the popularity of the franchise. I took one note. I take a lot of notes when I see movies, and
Mm-hmm.
I took one note, I think, because there really wasn't much to note in this movie. It just sort of washed over me. It unfolded in the way that the lion's share of animated features being made today just invade your space.
Yeah.
I don't know what they expected or where they expected this movie to go. Anybody's guess is as good as mine, but where it went for me was the movie land of forgettable.
Oh.
One quick thing. I remember, Nick Shager of the Daily Beast, he's one of the few critics I read now. He made me gut laugh out loud when he wrote, because I thought, maybe I'm missing something here, but I thought I'm going to look at some critics I admire. He wrote, quote, "Despicable Me 4 proves it's time to euthanize the minions."
Oh no.
which pretty much parallels what I thought about it, but I don't know if I would have used that language, but I'm going, ooh, perfectly said. But if you need something to take the kids to, I
Yeah.
suppose the kids seeing this, it won't drive them to, making a wrong turn in life. I don't think it's
Right.
going to do any lasting harm to their psyches or get them to join a gang or smoke or take drugs or
Yeah.
anything.
It's
But
all
I
right.
think kids deserve a lot better
Yeah.
than more minions, and that's what this is, just more minions.
Mm.
And really, we don't see enough of the minions in this. The minions are what make me kind of crack up.
Yeah.
Every time they do some little bit of business or they talk, and I don't remember that they were even in it that long. So I can't recommend it.
Okay.
But I know Jacob and you are going to go, right?
I know I pretty much have to go. I'll tell him Tim Sika didn't like this movie, and he'll say, "Yeah, we're gonna go." It's good.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. Yeah,
We'll call
right.
Tim Sika on the way home from the movie and tell him how great it was.
Yeah.
This movie I have seen. This next one,
Okay, do we really want to talk about A Family Affair?
we're gonna
I'm
have
late.
to talk about A
Okay.
Family Affair. Now I know that Michael Snyder did not like this movie. He
Yeah.
called it part of the what do you say? Part of the Netflix program machine. Like they had to make a movie and they just churned it out. He called it product. That's what he called it. Just product.
Yeah, that's
And
a good description. Yeah.
there were a couple times when I was watching it with my daughter Julia where we almost turned it off. Like we thought it was so bad. And I couldn't believe it was so bad because Nicole Kidman is in this movie, right? You've
Yeah.
got Joey King. You
Yeah.
have Kathy Bates is in this movie.
I know.
And it was like, why did they make this movie? And there were some parts that made me laugh out loud, but for the most part, Meh,
You know, Kim, I'll tell you, I think I agree with kind of what you said. I kind of agree with what Michael said. It is probably bad, but you know, I see so many movies that sometimes anything that will just give me a dab of pleasure or get me to
mm-hmm.
keep watching, you know, where I want to go, yay. And in this movie, you said it. We have Nicole Kidman, who I will see anything she's in, right? Kathy
Mm-hmm.
Bates, whom I love, both women Oscar winners, by the
Yeah.
way, with impressive acting chops and pedigrees. And Zoe King as Kidman's daughter,
Yeah.
she just blew me away.
Yeah.
What a pro, and how she held her own with
Really
those
good.
two heavyweight performers alongside of her. You know, it's like this. It's yet another in what seems to be a thing in movies now, like the older woman falling head over heels with a younger but hot, and he's got to
Mm-hmm.
be hot, right? Man,
Yeah.
in the case, remember The Idea of You, that one with
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, Nicholas Galitzine played the hot young rock star who has an affair with a 40-something Anne Hathaway. Well,
Uh-huh.
this one has Zac Efron playing a hot young action movie star who has an affair with an older woman played by Nicole Kidman. So apparently, the idea of you beat a family affair to the starting gate. And yeah, I mean, yeah, these are silly movies, but it, I did think this one was funnier than The Idea of
It
You.
had some funny moments. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the lines actually made me laugh or chuckle, and chunks of the dialogue were kind of punchy and witty and expertly delivered by these actors. Yeah, so was it a good movie? No, probably not. I can't defend the thing, but for whatever reason, it didn't press my buttons like it did
Yeah.
yours and Michael's. You know, and Kill Me Now, I did kind of enjoy it. You know, Kidman and Bates and King were enough for me. And I've seen worse. So Kill Me Now, you know. I again, but I think it's this. You can't defend this movie. No,
You're not
it's
recommending
bad.
it?
It's bad. No,
No, not recommending.
no.
Even though you kind of enjoyed it?
Yeah, I gotta join the ranks of the Kim McAllisters and the Michael Snyders on this one. I couldn't live with myself otherwise. But it's like, you know what? It was kind of like a guilty pleasure in a weird way.
Okay. It's on Netflix.
Only because, you know, I like Nicole Kidman, and you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I love Nicole Kidman. A friend of mine said the problem he had with it is that he could not get over her sort of like movie star kind of status. She's very glamorous, and he found
Yeah.
it hard to believe her in that role.
It's
And
true.
I can see that too, but
Yeah.
you know, I just like watching her go to work, especially in a kind of a
Yeah.
crappy script like this.
I did like the daughter Joey King. I thought she was great.
Oh, wasn't she
Yeah.
wonderful?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to see her, you know, in her own movie. Although, what's the
Yeah.
24-year-old girl still living with her mother? What is she doing still living there? She should
Um
be out on her own.
was she in those movies, the Kissing Booth movies?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she
Yeah.
was. Yeah. But,
Okay.
yeah. So, anyway, we spent too much time on the family affair.
Next one is called Maxxine with
Maxine.
triple
Yeah.
X's.
Triple X's. Yeah. Here's one grungy, gritty, and kind of wild ride for folks looking for this kind of movie. I would call Maxine a kind of a horror by way of murder mystery kind of slasher movie, although it's more than a slasher picture. It's the third installment. Here we go. We're doing more IP and franchise here. It's the third installment in director T. West's X film series. The other movie in that series was Pearl, and Maxine is a direct sequel to 2022's X. And the plot is focused on this adult film star. Her name is Maxine Minx, which is a great name for an adult film star. And she's played by Mia Goth. And she wants to kind of migrate out of porn movies and star in quote unquote real movies. So she gets the lead in a new horror film called The Puritan 2, which is being helmed by this super creepy female film director played by Elizabeth Debicki, who played Princess Diana in The Crown, by the way. She's totally, I almost thought, where have I seen this woman before? And I went, oh my God, yeah, she played Princess. She's a really good actress because, oh God, is she creepy in this movie. Anyway, she gets the role in this movie, Maxine Minx does, and she becomes the target of a serial killer as a result. The movie takes place in LA in 1985 when the serial killer, the Night Stalker, was roaming around LA, murdering innocent women. And interestingly, but not too surprisingly enough, um, Maxine absolutely plays like a movie from 1985. I think St. Elmo's Fire is referenced at one point to remind us where we are. No scratchy grindhouse effects, but with the period with a period feel and a soundtrack that's jammed with MTV era tunes. This is the kind of movie that would play very well at drive-ins, if there are any drive-ins left, and will more than likely join the roster of 80s slasher thriller movie retrospectives. And parenthetically, both X and Pearl, the other two movies in this franchise, somehow managed to slip through my fingers. And because people always ask me, well, do I need to have seen the previous movies to get to like this or to enjoy it? And well, I hadn't. And for what it's worth on its own, Maxine played just fine. Stylish is kind of arty, but entertaining. And fans of these movies will no doubt, thrill at one of the most gruesome on-screen killings I have seen in quite a while. And I'm not going to.
That's really saying something, because you've seen a lot.
Yes, and I don't want to spoil it, but I will say it involves Kevin Bacon. Who he's popping up everywhere these days. Yeah. He's in the Eddie Murphy movie too, the Beverly Cops, the Beverly Hills Cop movie. He plays this really corrupt police officer in that, but he's really slimy in this. And but you know what? I would never wish the way he dies on even my worst enemy. So anyway, this movie's all sleazy. It's kind of trashy, but it's what they call in the biz quality trash. So if you're looking for some quality trash to nosh on at the movies this week, you can go check out Maxxine.
Okay. All right. Let's recap it, my friend. The first one, you say if there's a movie to go see this weekend, this is it. It is called The Secret Art of Human Flight. You said it is very special and brilliantly directed, and you said this film has power.
Yes. That's a good summation.
There you go. I'm taking notes. I'm taking my notes as you're taking your notes.
Yeah.
The next one is called The Summer. It's a French subtitled movie. You said it's a sensual movie, but it looks at provocative questions about sexual power and other things. You said it's dramatically compelling.
Yes. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel F, rather. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. You said you liked it. You said it delivers. It's a summer popcorn movie, but it's on Netflix, and you said it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah,
so it was a yes for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not a yes for you. Despicable Me 4. You said not too much memorable about this storyline. You called it forgettable. You said people with kids are going to go see it, but it's a meh. No.
Yeah. You have to let me know how it goes with your son after the fact. Yeah.
A Family Affair. You said you're not recommending it, but you kind of enjoyed it, like a bit of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, moving right along.
And Maxxine, you called Maxxine a horror murder mystery slasher, kind of. You said it would have been a great drive-in movie, that it's stylish, arty, and entertaining, and you said it's quality trash.
That just about sizes up movies for the week, I would say.
Right on. Tim, right. You have done it again. You have come in, you have delivered, you have given us all we need to know to move forward with the weekend ahead, and I thank you so much for it.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, Kim. I will talk to you next week. I always look forward to it.
Sounds good. Bye, Tim Sika.
Bye, Kim McAllister.